You're smart, you're motivated, you want to do something big. You're on the verge of being a young boss, and we're going to help you get there. I'm your host, Isabel Barrino, and welcome to the Young Boss Podcast, where youth is your power. Does your boyfriend want to wear your pajamas? This week we talk about funding your business through low-effort side hustles, how to stand out in the oversaturated apparel industry, and the importance of trademarks. We chatted with Dani Eldred, founder, owner, and operator of Cozy Ups, a bamboo pajama brand full of personality. Let's dive in. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So happy to have you here. How old were you when you started Cozy Ups?
I was 27.
27. Okay. What gave you this idea? Where did you even think of doing this?
So I really started when I was looking for pajamas, and I was going on trips with my now fiance and his family.
Yeah.
And we would have game nights with the family. And I was like, what am I going to wear casually with the family? That's not my workout clothes.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really have anything besides old t-shirts and just random stuff. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I want a cute pair of pajamas.
Yeah.
And so I started buying some here and there, and they would fall apart when I would wash them, or they were boring. They were black, white, tan, just boring. And so I was like, wow, I really can't find what I'm looking for. I should create it. Okay. And that's kind of what started me into this journey.
That's really fun. And I think that is so funny because girls always talk about that with swimsuits, right? Yep. They're like, not my family. I can't wear this in front of my family. There's no product for appropriate but still cute.
Yep,
your boyfriend still likes you, but his mom likes you too.
Yep, you have to hit both boxes there.
So pajamas. Okay, I like that. So was there any big influence or motivator? Are your family, anyone in your family entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so both my parents have owned businesses their whole life, different businesses, multiple different businesses.
Okay.
And so I think I was always meant to run a business.
Yeah.
But I think being a child of two parents that owned a business, I was like, I need to do something different first. So I went to corporate first.
Okay. So what were you doing there?
So my degree is in biomedical engineering.
Okay.
I created, designed, manufactured medical devices for devices that are on the market right now.
Wow.
And so I did that for about 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And I was really passionate about it. I loved it almost so much that it was a fault. In corporate, they kind of push you down and they think, you're not, you got to stop here. Or my boss would always tell me that'll be there tomorrow, or you're replaceable. And I hated hearing that. I was so driven. I loved people. I loved helping people. And it wasn't for me. And I realized that. I mean, it took me 5 to 6 years to realize that, but I finally realized it. And I was like, I need something different.
Okay, time to do your own thing. How do you balance? Because you have a lot going on. You've been doing 1,000,001 things, and work-life balance. Let's talk about all of that.
I don't know if I'm really good at that.
Yeah, that's
it's something I'm constantly striving for.
Yeah.
I will say one thing I try to always do is take care of myself. So I get up about 4 to 5 a.m. every morning and I go to the gym. Yep. There's days I don't want to do it, but I will say between the hours of 4 and 5, my phone doesn't go off. Or I can put it away and it's my time. I usually go to a workout class. So there's no phone. I can't be scrolling on Instagram on the bench, right? I have to be there and present. I also try when I'm with my family and my friends to put my phone down and put it on do not disturb and give myself an hour or 2 hours. Maybe not the whole time, but I really try to focus and be present. So that's probably the big things I try to do to balance the important parts of my life.
You got to make time. I think that's key. And then when you're there, how are you going to fully be there? Because if not, it's never going to stop coming in.
Right. Exactly. There's no stop.
Okay. So it was a family vacation that sparked it for you. How did you come up with the concept? Because you guys have some really unique things that you offer.
Yeah. So I started ordering products was kind of how it started, and stuff was falling apart. And I really wanted something that was durable yet comfortable. Obviously durable, I think of stiff and not comfortable. And I wanted something soft and breathable. And we also live in Arizona. So I was dying in pants.
Yeah.
So the product is bamboo.
Okay.
It's not, there's lots of bamboo if you've ever heard of bamboo sheets, and there's all kinds of bamboo. It's bamboo, but then it's the weave of the bamboo and the spandex that's woven into it to make it stretchy and comfortable.
Comfy.
So I knew I wanted, it took me about a year to develop the product.
Wow.
It was not right away.
And what does that even look like? Are you asking for samples to be sent to you and you feel it and you're like, that's not it? Or
yeah, there was a lot of that, a lot of back and forth sampling of the material. I actually found my supplier through an old contact. So medical devices are materials, and my fabric weaver told me who to kind of go to. And so we used to implant them in people's body. It's the same types of materials.
Wow.
They're just held to different standards. So material is material. And they helped me find a supplier, my old contacts, basically.
Wow, that's really cool. And is this like a product or a type of material that no one else is using? Like, can you patent?
You can't necessarily patent the material. It's other people are using it. It's just how we weave it and how we like develop it. But other people could do the same thing if they basically figured it out. Okay. Unfortunately, that space, it's not so protected, if that makes sense.
Okay, so let's talk about being protected, because obviously, there's been a large trademark situation going on.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about that? And what should business owners know about getting their trademark?
So one thing I wish I would have known when jumping in. So I came up with a great name. I knew I wanted to do something in this space. I came up with a name. I bought an LLC. I got my social media handles, got my website and domain name, really got that piece going even before I had like my prototype locked in.
Yeah.
And then I was, from what I understood, again, this is me doing my business on my own and reading all the different things there are on Google, I thought, okay, I have to have my label in my final somewhat product.
Okay.
So if that's like pajama sets, or I was looking at loungewear, I was looking at different kind of ways I was going to go about it. Finally got my prototype, and right as I went to file my trademark, somebody else had done it that same week.
Oh my God.
Which was shocking. So I immediately hired a lawyer, and this has been going on for about a year and a half now, because things aren't quick in the trademark world. No. And they submitted it under a fake, basically, application. They're a competitor, but not like a direct competitor. They do operate in pajama space, but very differently. They're on a lower end, I would say, of a wholesale world.
Okay. And what do you do in this situation? You called a lawyer, but now that you have been through this, what would you have done to protect yourself in this situation?
So if I could do it all over again, before I even started prototyping, sharing information with anybody about what I was actually doing, I mean, even down to like creating a logo. I had somebody help me create a logo. I wish I would have never shared it with them. I would have never shared it with my manufacturer and anyone. I wish I would have talked to a lawyer first. Even before I even just had the idea, because now knowing what I know, you can file a to be launched or to be designed. It's a different type of filing, and then you have to go file a trademark, but it's like it basically protects you. Yep, exactly. And have them help me get NDAs. So before I actually have somebody do my logo, have them sign an NDA, track those things. I mean, I was so small and so little, and I thought, we always think, oh, we can do it all. I can do this, I can do that. Day one, before I did anything or hired anyone, I should have got a lawyer first.
Okay. Clothing industry is a tough business to be in.
Yes, it is.
So how do you stay competitive, and how do you stay ahead of the curve? Like, is there someone to go to in this space who actually helps you and doesn't screw you over?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some great lawyers, trademark specific lawyers. I have found a great female in the industry. This isn't specifically what she does, but she does help businesses in like the law space.
Okay.
But her team was very good at like helping me find different resources and things, and they're amazing. But they could have basically helped me do the research, figure out, what to do going forward. So their team will now, if you have an idea or you have something that you want to do, they'll help you get the research and say, oh, this could be like trademark infringing or not. So they'll do that initial research for you, and then they will help you, which at the time I didn't have anything until one popped up. But they basically tell you when you're clear to go.
Okay. So calling them, pretty much, you get that idea, you call them right away, because they'll even help you get that NDA. So pre-logo, pre-website, pre-everything, you're calling them, get those legal docs. Then when you hire someone to work with you on that, okay, great, sign this, and now I want you to work on this logo.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Because anyone could come after you or go behind your back in a sense. So it's just protection.
It's protection. And they're not necessarily doing it because they want to take over your stuff. They're doing it because they want to stop you.
Yes, exactly. So they have no intentions of using it. I guess a lot of brands, makeup and skincare, are probably the biggest hitters, and then food, she said, is the second biggest hitter.
Food.
Food, like the food industry, which I thought was really interesting.
Trademarks on food.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about this. What is the advantage in the consumer space or apparel space of having your own proprietary element?
I think it's being different. I think that's the biggest key. A lot of people, it does take an edge of like having to educate people. So I have to educate people on bamboo if they don't know what the product is.
Yeah.
But the advantage is once they feel it, and if you have a good product, I mean, there's almost no looking back, and then you gain a very loyal customer. I have repeat orders. I get people that are already telling me they want a line for the whole family.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest advantage, is once they feel it, they see it, they see the difference.
Yeah.
And as long as you have a good product, I think it's a huge advantage because it creates almost a loyalty to your brand.
Are you guys fully online right now, or are you in stores?
We're in stores. So we are in a couple different spas. I've done markets and things locally just to kind of also get that. The hardest thing about online I've seen is that customer feedback. I was really struggling. I've worked in retail throughout my life, and I always got that feedback of, what does that customer say about this? I was struggling with that. Like, people would leave reviews, but I would send them emails, but it was so virtual that I wasn't having that face-to-face interaction. And markets gave me that opportunity to hear, oh, they like those dresses a little shorter, or they like these shorts a little longer, or they like this. And hearing that customer feedback, I loved that.
Okay, because I understand what you're saying now. I'm like, were they giving you negative reviews? And you're like, no, it's more of just the small nuanced differences of how to make the product just that much better.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. That makes sense. That's really interesting because people don't like, it's funny if I do a return, they're like, why? And I'm just like, I just literally write ugly and like send it back.
Exactly.
Like, I don't give any feedback. Like, it did not fit my waist or whatever. It's just, I give them nothing.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Okay, I'm part of the problem.
No. But I never realized that until I started like operating in the online space. I thought, no problem. And I was like, wow, I have no idea what they want.
What they want.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And also, like, if you do start getting a bunch of returns on a product, you're just like, what was wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so being in store, because you said one big thing of you can get another customer once they feel it, once they touch it, once they wear it. So I would assume that store sales are better than online, or how does that break down?
I would say a little bit better than online. I will say I started with online. I like fully launched online and really pushed online probably the hardest at first. So I think that's why it's a balance. But now that I've been getting into stores and stuff, I would say, now it's probably better in stores. But I probably did like the opposite of what people normally do.
I don't know, because I think online then you grow the following.
That's true. That's very true. But the in-store for touching and feeling and seeing it is nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice.
Was it difficult to get into stores?
Yes and no. Yes, it was. You definitely hear a lot of no's at first, but I will say a lot of it the stores I am in came from like a reputation, like people having my product. And now the stores that I'm in, people came to me. The ones that I went to at first, I'm in a few because I pitched myself, but for the most part, it was people finding me either in other stores, seeing me at the markets, and now that's actually how I got into a lot of spas, is somebody saw me at the markets and different like local markets, and they felt the material. I probably had a conversation with them along with thousands of other people, and that's how they found me.
Okay, we've got to connect her with the Cleanse girls, because you should be in the it's like a spa that we just interviewed the owners.
Oh, I love that.
And they're amazing. It's out here in Gilbert. Okay. You had a healthcare career before this, obviously, doing medical sales and stuff. What was that transition like to now be doing fully your own thing?
That was hard. I think that there's always a lot of, at least for me, and I've listened to other people say it, there's self-doubt. And actually you posted something recently on social media that says like, you doubt yourself. You're like, oh, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? And then it's really that mindset and that shift of mindset where you say, what if it does work? Yeah. What if it's the best thing that ever happened? And I have to remind myself sometimes too, I would sit there in a cubicle and be so frustrated. And I would be telling myself, what if you never took that opportunity? Like, or what if you were doing this or that? So it goes both ways, but it's a tough transition to make.
Yes.
That is for sure.
Okay, let's talk about funding. you were working other jobs. Obviously you were making money. Were you preparing like mentally, like stacking cash? I need to do this. Did you get a loan? Did somebody help you out? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it was all self-funded. I've always done little things here and there. So I had an Airbnb and that helped me fund it as well. I definitely have always just looked for different opportunities and ways to save money, to make money. And so I took that Airbnb money. I didn't spend it. I used it as a way to basically, I knew I wanted to do something for probably a year, but I just didn't know what that something was. So I just kept self-funding basically.
Okay, that's amazing. As the business needed more and more money coming into it, you funded it fully all throughout.
All throughout.
Wow, you never had to go out and get any capital.
Not yet. Not yet.
But that's amazing because, sometimes it is that idea and it's like, well, where do I come up with the money for this? Is there a lot of money needed up front?
Yes. The inventory you have to buy up front was huge. And I don't even think I understood the quantities that you had to buy up front to even be taken seriously in this industry.
Oh, because somebody won't put you in their store unless you have X amount.
Yep. And even just as a manufacturer, they won't even supply to you unless you buy X amount.
Do you have a warehouse?
I have a storage unit. So I don't know
storage unit?
Now I used to store it all in my house.
Yeah.
That became
chaos.
Chaos. Yeah, definitely.
Are you self-shipping?
Self-shipping, yep.
Wow. How do you get to that transition of getting somebody else to, is it like you're sending them all the product?
Yeah. And so there is drop shipping and different things that you can find. I think for me, I'm the person that has to fully understand an operation before I can hand it off.
Yeah.
And I really wanted that customer experience and feedback to be excellent. I wanted it to be top of the line. I think that's super important, just customer service overall. And I needed to find the pain points and figure out where's the failures happening? Where are these little pain points coming from? And knowing those, then I feel like I can give it to someone else. And I am in that kind of transition where I'm looking at that right now and trying to see who will fit what I'm looking for.
Do you have employees?
I have no one right now. No,
it's fully you.
Fully me. Yep.
Oh my God, girl, this is a lot.
It is.
Okay, tell me, are you working nonstop?
I work a lot. Yes, I do. I do.
It's okay because that is the reality for so many business owners, and they think I'm just going to hire all these people and delegate and elevate. Yeah, eventually. Yep. But it may be for some people that's 3 months and other people's that 3 years in.
Yep, exactly.
It really ranges. So
it does.
I applaud you for sharing that with us and being, open, because that is the truth for so many people who are listening. If they start their own thing, they're going to be solo for a while.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people forget about this too. You don't call out sick when
it's your thing.
It's your thing. You show up, you don't feel good or you've got something going on in your life. It's your thing. No one's going to come save you but you.
Yep. So your vacations can't be 3 weeks in Europe.
Nope. Not yet.
Not right now. Not right now.
We're working towards it.
Okay. I love it.
Are you ready to unlock your full potential and achieve your career goals? Subscribe to the Young Boss podcast for weekly inspiration and practical advice. Keep listening for more tips and tricks. Now, back to listening.
What has been the most challenging part of being a business owner?
Probably figuring out when you need to hire help. That's been a big piece for me, really trying to figure out how to have that balance and, how to fund it, right? Where are you going to spend your funds? Are you going to spend it here or there? And really just knowing when to ask for help, when to ask for feedback, when to ask for those things. And sometimes you might not get the feedback that you want to hear and being able to process it properly.
When it comes to, are you feeling like you're almost there to ready to hire someone?
Yeah.
What's that first position you want to offload?
Oh, I would think probably social media.
Oh,
probably
yeah?
Social media would be the first thing.
Girl.
I know, and I listened to her podcast and she was wonderful, so she might be my next one.
There you go. Okay, reach out to her. She's incredible. What do you struggle the most with, or what do you wish you knew before getting into business ownership?
I think it was really, you listen to people talk about how they have a team that helps them. And I think it was, for me, I wish I would have figured out what that team was. Where am I not really, what's the word?
What's not your genius?
Genius, yeah. What are you not striving for? What are you, your genius, really. And who can help you fill those gaps. And I might be really good at one thing, but I need to find people that are good at other things. For example, like a lawyer. I am not the law. I do not understand the law probably as good as a Google search can. I didn't go to law school. Finding those people that are excellent at doing those things. The experts. Having a team of experts. Finding an accountant early on. You know, just because you're a small business and you're starting out doesn't mean you can't reach out to an accountant and say, how should I start doing my books? That's something I feel like we don't talk about because it's not so fun. Like, I don't think it's fun to talk about the books, but how should I start documenting my finances? For me, it was, I was buying my inventory one year and I was right at that transition of like the Christmas time for it was going to launch in spring. How do you bleed that over into your next year? I didn't know the answer to that question. So it was when to ask for that like external help and when to find those people.
So even though you don't have employees, you still have a vast team of other people who you are outsourcing things to so that everything that is not your core genius, it's falling on them.
Yes, correct.
I love that. And getting people who know more about that, who can guide you and lead you, because you're not hiring them to say, I think, You're hiring them to say, I don't know, you tell me, you are the expert.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, from a normal employee, but I do lean on, I had to figure out when to lean on people. At first, I just dove in, and stepping back, I probably would have saved a lot of money if I would have went there first, known how to structure everything, and then backtracked from there.
What's one of the biggest, when it came to like saving money or spending money and you're like, damn it, I wish I would have known that?
The lawyer. I wish I would have started from the beginning. I wish I would have just said, at first you think, oh, it's so expensive, I can do that. Oh, the money I could have saved if I just would have started there. Oh, it would have paid for itself a million times over. Same with even finding the accountant and everything like that. A lot of my time was spent trying to recoup maybe like receipts I didn't keep or like miles I didn't track or different things like that. And if I would have had like, you know, a great spreadsheet or something that he said, hey, this is just a guidance you should follow. That would have been my time versus money there.
Absolutely. Have you ever gone to a sales pitch wearing cozy?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Always.
Always. What a better way to sell the product and starts a great conversation, especially even when I wear them at markets. People look at me kind of funny. They're like, why is this girl wearing her pajamas? And then I walk up to my booth and they're like, oh, that's why she's wearing her pajamas. Or people will ask me like, where did you get that? What is this? Or I get a lot of those questions. I actually have a girlfriend that has worn her cozy ups through Costco and got me all kinds of sales.
Oh, that is so funny. Okay, I love it. It is, you have to wear them because they're a conversation piece and the prints are so cute. Exactly. How do you know, like obviously sales tells the story, but when you're doing those markets, are you also listening for the feedback of which prints they like, which colors they like, or if they're like, I wish that was in black and white, and you're just like, okay.
Yes. Oh, I take so many notes. I even come with a notebook and I just jot them down. Obviously you can put them in your phone, but I find it just like jotting a few notes down and I feel like I'm less like engaged if I'm on my phone at a market. So I'm jotting down notes. I also have had men buy the women's cozy because they love the material so much. I have some neutral prints and they loved them so much, so that'll probably be my next venture. Because I was
going to say, are you going to branch into men's?
Yeah, the men's love it. I currently have dog pajamas because we love our furry friends. But the men have bought. Actually, this was something I didn't see. I sold out of like large and extra large sizing because the men started buying them, so they needed something longer, a little bigger, and they were buying them and wearing them and sending me pictures of them, and with their wives, so they would both buy the matching set. It was hilarious. I loved it.
Okay, I do love that. And actually, my boyfriend says that to me all the time. He's like, there's no like men's pajamas. Like it's like a flannel pant and a t-shirt, or it's like, you know, basketball shorts or boxers. Like there really is not a corner on that market. Nope. So there you go, girl.
That's it.
You got it. Okay. I love it. A lot of people think that when they're starting their business, they can just do everything themselves. And I know you've mentioned a lot, like seeking out expert advice. Is that something that like, did you ever go to your parents because they were entrepreneurs and say like, what do I do? Or did you start Googling, like who was your person who guided you to say, I think you should go this direction?
My mom, 100% my mom. She has definitely been my like go-to person, my voice of reason a little bit. Obviously, she's like, sometimes you just got to wing it. Like you don't know what to do. So you got to, go to this person, go to this person. Yeah, make it happen. But she definitely, as I hit certain road bumps, I would Google first and then come to her with the facts. And she's like, I think it's time you go externally. And she was probably definitely my push of go externally or you're you're going to drown in this.
Yep. Do you think youth has been an advantage or a disadvantage to you as a business owner?
I can see disadvantages, but I definitely think an advantage. I think disadvantages are just something we have to overcome just because sometimes we're not taken seriously, but it's definitely an advantage. I think especially our age group right now, we grew up in social media. We grew up in, the age of technology and we understand it so well. And we're also somewhat adaptable when we're young. If something doesn't stick, we're okay pivoting maybe a little bit more than even my parents are sometimes in their business. When something's not going well, I will say even growing up watching them do stuff, I was really the person that introduced them to social media and their businesses. And they're like, we're not doing this. I'm like, we are doing this. So I think youth has that advantage 100%.
Do you get a lot of sales from social?
Oh yeah. That's my probably biggest driving factor.
That's amazing. Have you, and also now I'm thinking like literally the outfits that are popular for especially Gen Alpha, like this youngest generation, they wear pajama pants to school.
That was probably my biggest surprise when I launched. I got a huge following from them. They blew up over this stuff. And I was like, wow, that was not the customer I thought I was like reaching. And that was something that I also had to learn was really understanding that ideal customer. But it's not just one person. You have like multiple personas and like understanding those customers inside and out.
How are you getting, okay, because now it's like you have men who are buying them, we've got children who are buying them, and I'm assuming when you started this, you were like, I'm creating it for the me.
Yep.
The me. And so it's like, that was not the you, right? So how did you get this feedback? And then what have you done since you learned it? Okay, maybe ordering differently or things of that nature, different colors. What have you done to kind of bring the feedback in and adjust?
Yeah, I definitely had to learn the different prints, that different kind of seeing who was buying what. A lot of that for the online sales was when I was kind of figuring it out, like, oh, this is her name. She's probably in this age group. It was a guessing game for me because I was trying to really figure out that customer. Yes, you can get some analytics online, but it's not always as like
black and
white as it seems. And so it was really studying that, like that knowledge and understanding who was buying this print, who was buying this print. Okay, we need to change this style a little bit. Maybe they like a longer short. This generation likes a shorter short. I will say I would interview people on like, what do you wear for pajamas? The answers were shocking. I thought the sleep dress was dead. That's one of my best sellers. The younger generation loves the sleep dress, where I think, at least I thought my generation, they were out of that. That was, something maybe grandma wore. Like that wasn't as popular. I have grandparents that buy my sleep dress. And then I have 18 to 20-year-olds that buy my sleep dress.
Okay.
Same dress. So that was shocking. I know. It was so shocking to me. Wow. And so it's really understanding that, taking that feedback, doing those markets was what really, I heard people saying, do you make this? Do you make this color? Do you have this? Will you do something custom? And as I started hearing this, I just started jotting it down and changing things as I went.
Wow. Very, very interesting. Now I'm trying to think of like these trends of what do these kids wear, but literally my 11-year-old niece, it's like she wears pajama pants every day and a hoodie, and like she wears it to school, she wears it to the store, she wears it everywhere. No shame.
Yep.
Like that is her outfit. She's proud of it.
Yep.
She's like, I look cute.
And that's what they want. They want lots of that. Yeah. Every color that they can have.
Every color that they can have, right? It's like, okay. Versus I feel like when I was in school, it was like, you want to dress like the cutest you could possibly dress. I'd be mortified to go to school in my pajamas. And they are like, please, mom, don't make me put on pants. Yeah. I want to keep my cozies on. Okay. Cozy ups on.
Cozy ups on.
Okay. What does being a young boss mean to you?
I think it means being innovative, being different, and kind of proving people wrong in a sense sometimes. It's, showing, I think I got a lot of self-doubt, or I got a lot of external doubt, and it's really like beating the odds.
Yeah. I love that. Are there any 3 tactical tips you could share for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Understanding your customer. I think that was the hardest thing to do. But once you understand your customer, things get better. Yeah. Really having a strategy, depending on what you're doing, how you launch something, having that strategy, that's key in creating like a hype around your product or your business or whatever you're doing, kind of having that strategy around that. And then I would say tracking KPIs, your key performance indicators, and actually looking at them and changing things around that. Are we not doing really well in this area? Looking at those numbers. And sometimes for me, that's a little boring, but it's a very valuable thing to look at.
When it comes to the mass amounts of ordering you have to do, have you ever had a big fail where you do a massive order and then you're like, these are not selling?
It's funny you say that. I've thought that I've been there, and then sometimes it's just how I market it. I have to change it. I thought that this demographic was going to go for this product, and that's not who liked it. And then I realized I was really on, it needed to be in this person. And so then I'll realize maybe I ordered my sizing wrong. That's probably been my hardest thing, is figuring out sizing as far as, who wants what. And so I might get stuck with one size, because that's, ideal customer is really more in these 2 sizes than the other 3. Yeah. That has probably been the biggest challenge, and that's probably the biggest oops. But honestly, everything I've ever had has sold. Just maybe I've sold out in something too fast and been left with something else.
Okay. That's really interesting, because I would think that there would have been at least one massive one where you're like, oh shit, I ordered all this stuff and no one wants it. Or it was all completely, you ordered all larges and XLs and it's all the littles who want it, something like that. I don't know. I'm going to ask you some fast questions, some quick fire. What's your favorite apparel brand outside of your own?
Lululemon.
Lulu, okay. 3 places you find creative inspiration.
Pinterest, art festivals, and shopping in the malls.
Okay. You'll frequent them all. You'll walk around.
Yeah. Or online. I guess
see
I'll do
what's
both.
Vibing. Yeah. See what's happening. What's your favorite pair of cozy ups you've ever designed?
This pair, and probably the celebration ones.
This is honestly the cutest ever. So of course. Okay. What's one book or podcast every business owner should read?
So besides this podcast, I would say Ed Milet's podcast, and then book E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Okay. Who do you look up to most in your industry?
Not directly in my pajamas, but Sarah Blakely Spanks.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
She is. It's still apparel.
Yeah, it's still apparel.
What's the long-term goal for Cozy Up?
I would love to go national and be in your big department stores.
Okay. What's the big kahuna? What's the store you want?
Nordstrom's.
You can do it. It's on brand.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Okay, good. I'm excited for that. Where can people buy the product?
CozyUps.com. We also sell off of Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. So that's Shop Cozy Ups as well for those.
Amazing. Any final words for anyone listening who's wanting to get into the apparel business? Anything they need to be cautious of, anything that they should be excited for? What is your takeaway? What's your advice for them?
Just do it. Just go for it. Jump in. Make sure you protect yourself. Don't get so excited that you forget about the important things, but just go for it.
Okay.
Just do it.
So you have a TikTok shop.
Yes.
Does that help sell to the younger generations, and how does that even work? Will you walk us through that?
Yeah, so I will say it's challenging. TikTok shop is probably my hardest selling. Getting on it took me a little bit of time.
Okay.
Maybe because I'm not as experienced in TikTok as I am Instagram and Facebook, because we grew up with it, but we're learning. And it's a newer platform, so there's definitely hurdles and bumps with the TikTok shop, but I will say I have seen some really good results from it. I will say it's not all younger that buys from it. I get a mix definitely, unless it's the parents buying them for the kids. I can't always tell, but I do see a good feedback, and people love that instant gratification. Yes. You're seeing something, swipe it, click it. I'm guilty. I've done it. I'm very easily influenced by things sometimes, and I'm I'm going to try that. And it's just, you click it and you instantly buy it. It's more seamless than Instagram as far as the consumer side. Yep. As far as purchasing, I feel like on Instagram, you got to tap to get to the link, and then it takes you to Instagram's platform. Yeah. But TikTok shop is very instant. You click it, and if your card's in there, it takes your money instantly. I will say there is a very tight turnaround time, which was interesting to me. You have to have your product out in 24 hours with a tracking number. And if they buy on Saturdays, it doesn't, like Sunday, there's no postal service. So like that piece gets a little tricky. So you have to go in and submit a notification that you've like packaged it and things. So there is some definitely little hiccups, but you have to ship that stuff fast.
I did not know that. We get hit up all the time on our TikTok too. Hey, do you want to promote this? Do you have people promoting it?
I have gone down that
route
before. Yes. And I've used influencers, and actually have a lot of really good like friends that are influencers that have helped me out graciously and just been great friends and like supported me in that standpoint. I've seen a great response from it. Not so much on TikTok, better on Instagram. That's just my, like what I've had so far.
Okay.
Turnover wise, I've done much better on Instagram with influencers than TikTok. But yes, I get that. I think it all comes down to strategy when it comes to that stuff, and having like those, if you look at some of those big brands, when they do, if you study it, when they do a launch of something, everyone's talking about it, not just like 1 to 2 to 3 people. So if you can get 3 to 4 to 15 influencers at one time hitting all these different channels, it's that like you've got to see something 7 times to buy it sometimes, or you've got to see it, you know, you've got to be running ads, doing influencer marketing, and you've got to be doing all of these different things at one time, like not just using one person at a time. I kind of dabbled in that as well. I also am on Like to Know It, if you know what Like to Know It is. That's been big, but again, it like linking with Instagram, and that's a great platform too.
Really interesting. And I agree with that, because for some, well, TikTok is pretty good at like, once they're showing you something once, like their
keep pushing
analytics
it.
are crazy.
They're
Like
great.
for some reason right now I'm on these like sour gusher, like, and like everything I'm scrolling is sour gushers. I'm like, why is it sour gushers every other video? I guess I need to buy them,
Right?
because this is the 80th person who's showing me them on TikTok. So maybe I'll be on Cozy Up's TikTok now.
Mine was this Korean skincare. That
Korean
got me.
skincare.
That got me. That's my entire TikTok.
Yeah, I have yet to buy anything on TikTok Shop, but like the day is coming, and honestly, it might be these gushers, because they're pushing them too hard.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
I think I have to do something at this point. They're really working OT over there. When you're starting in the apparel business, what margins are you aiming for, or in the beginning, and then where do you want to end up?
That's a great question. So when I started, I was really looking, I think, probably that 50-50 margin. That's where I was really kind of basing it off. I think as you grow, you forget a lot of costs. Shipping is a huge cost, not only getting my product from where it's manufactured, but getting it out to the consumer, even returns or any of that exchange. Shipping's a huge piece of it. So you think that 50% is enough, and then it's not. And so that's when you have to get into those larger order quantities, and you have to really start negotiating with your supplier and say, how am I going to get these costs down? What do I have to order in order to hit these like certain margins? And then as I got into the wholesaling world, really understanding what they buy, they like to buy a margin at 50-50. So then you have to figure out how to make money if you're going to sell it at that 50-50 price point, right? And so that started to become a much harder piece for me to figure out, especially in starting to do my pricing. Like, you know, where, you know, you don't want to be the most expensive one, unless you have like a very, very superior product, but really figuring out those margins. So I initially started at looking at a 50-50. Then I did get it to about a 40% margin, and then I was able to drop it down from there as I grew and started getting larger orders for these wholesale. Like, so if I know I'm fulfilling a wholesale order, I'll order larger, knowing that I can get that margin down a little bit.
How many people are in this process until like the customer gets their thing? So it's like you're ordering fabric.
Yep.
What's the next?
Then somebody's manufacturing my product for me. So actually cutting it and all of that.
Sewing it,
making it, which is all very manual now. I guess I thought that like it's machinery. It's incredible. Like that cuts it, sews it. It is 100% machinery. I thought it was a lot more of a manual process than it is not.
Interesting.
It is very machinery based.
Then they're shipping it to you.
Yep.
Now you are promoting it, marketing it, everything, taking photos of it, whatever, getting it out there, and then you are shipping it again.
Yep, exactly.
So it's now going through like 3, 4, 5 processes that each of those cost money along the way.
Right. Yep, and you have to order, so like Christmas product, it's already ordered.
Wow.
So you have to basically be thinking, what are the trends? What's going to be cool for Christmas this year?
Yeah.
In June.
Is there any like things that Is there any blogs or things that kind of like speak to that say like, I think it's going to be a gingerbread year. I think it's going to be a candy cane year, like whatever.
I haven't found them yet.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is going back to like what is popular now. There is some things that come out about colors, but sometimes those flop. Like they will say like orange will be the like most popular color of the season, and then you won't see it. So when I first launched, I thought like they were saying yellow was going to be popular. I launched the yellow. It didn't sell at first, but then it took off. So sometimes people will see a trend, like leopard print is coming back right now, right?
Okay.
But it's not, I've been like kind of watching it. It's not taking off like it did years ago. So it's kind of, it is tricky. So you do have to kind of play. There's like almost safe things to go for, and then there's like the wild things to go for. And it's kind of finding that balance.
If the wild hits, you're happy you did it.
Yes.
But if it doesn't, now you're stuck with a whole warehouse of cheetah print.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Very interesting. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I really
Thank you for
appreciate you
having
coming.
me.
And I think it's just such an amazing industry, and all of your insight was so impactful for all of our listeners who are getting started in any industry, but specifically something where they're making it's their own. Really, everything that you shared is just incredible. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
I
awesome.
appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Young Boss with your host, Isabel Garino. Be sure to like, share, and follow on Instagram and TikTok, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and let us know, what are you buying on TikTok Shop? We'll see you next time.